to Open Studio with ManMake Machine. My name is Mundi Sitole and I am part of the mentorship production at the Open Studio. So today we are discussing revenue collection systems within the fourth industrial revolution with my guests here, Matthew, Chris, and Conrad. How are you guys?
Good, thanks.
Good. So we're going to watch a clip just to explain what kind of revenue collection methods are out there. And then after the clip, we will discuss it and we'll find out what happens. Cool.
Are you having trouble understanding your merchant account? Are you confused about the rates and fees and how you're being charged? If so, this video will explain how it all works. You don't need to know every little detail about credit card processing. You just need to know enough to delegate the task to a provider that'll take care of everything for you. Nevertheless, it's important to understand the fundamentals so that you can properly make a provider selection. In the next couple of minutes, we'll discuss the merchant account transaction cycle and how it works, interchange and its role in the process, the two main pricing structures and how they compare to each other, and at the end, I'll give you a couple ideas on how to best select a provider that fits your needs. Let's look at the transaction cycle. First, the customer presents a card to the merchant for purchase of goods or services. After the card is swiped or entered into the point-of-sale software, the processor sends out for authorization through the payment processing network. The issuing bank approves or declines the transaction based on funds available. The transaction is then passed through the electronic networks to the processor, and the approval code is delivered to the point-of-sale device at the merchant location. The issuing bank then sends the money to the processing company to reimburse them for the purchase that was made. This whole process is completed in just a matter of seconds. At the end of the day, the merchant will send out all of their transactions, referred to as a batch, to the processor for monies to be deposited into the merchant bank account. And finally, the issuing bank will send the cardholder a bill for the purchase. What is interchange and what role does it play? Interchange is a schedule of fees that determine the price for all credit card transactions. There are hundreds of interchange levels and each is comprised of a set of qualification requirements that must be met in order for a transaction to fall into a certain category. The two main qualification requirements are, number one, how the payment is accepted, whether it's face-to-face or over the phone, for example. And the second is the type of card that is used, whether it's a consumer card or a business card, for example. Individual rate categories are set by Visa and MasterCard, and the interchange schedule of fees are published and could potentially change 2 times per year. This is important to remember since those changes can affect the cost of your merchant account. Here's a sample of just one part of a schedule of fees published by Visa. As you can see, there are 13 rates and 8 categories on this example alone. Again, in any single transaction, just one of these rates are charged based on the qualification of the card that was presented. Let's look at two main pricing models and the components of both of them. Most providers will offer the following price structures. Number one, tiered pricing, also known as bundled or bucket pricing. And the second is Interchange Plus, also known as Cost Plus or Pass-Through pricing. In order to compare these two pricing models, let's first look at how the two pricing structures are related. First off, interchange costs are at the core of both pricing models. The fees for any given transaction are broken down into two main categories: interchange costs, along with dues and assessments, and processor costs. Dues and assessments are paid to the card networks, which is Visa and MasterCard, and are the same for everyone as are interchange costs. They are absolute, and every processing company pays the same amount for interchange, dues, and assessments, period. They cannot be changed or discounted for special situations or for any reason, so whether you're a Fortune 500 company processing billions of dollars each year or a hobby business with just a couple $1,000s in volume, you pay the same fees. From now on, when I refer to interchange, it is assumed that dues and assessments are included since we understand that they are the same for everyone. The processor cost is the one variable that differs from one processor to the next and is the only area open for negotiation in your search for a merchant account provider. Here's both pricing models in detail. Your choices are tiered pricing or Interchange Plus. Tiered pricing takes hundreds of interchange categories and lumps them into bundles or buckets. The three common tiers are qualified, mid-qualified, and non-qualified, and as you can see from the chart, the rates increase as you move from qualified to non-qualified. Each of these tiers are set and assigned a specific rate by the processing company and can vary from one provider to the next. In fact, they often do. What is considered to be a qualified transaction with provider A might fall into a mid-qualified transaction with provider B. Tier pricing sorts the hundreds of interchange categories, and each tier is priced high enough to cover the average of all of the rates and fees that fall under that tier. Interchange plus pricing passes the actual interchange costs through to you, and a small provider charge is charged in addition, also referred to as provider markup.
So guys, that was a short description about revenue collections and how it is done within the business world and the banking world. What did you guys think about that clip? So tell me about it. Wasn't it a bit complicated to you? Didn't it sound boring? What did you think?
Yeah, no, I think it was complicated. What really stood out to me, and it was a convenient point to fade out, was this like insane pricing structure and all these communications between the different areas. So yeah.
Cool. And yourself, Conrad? Chris? What did you think?
Yeah, into ndicingayo ithi xa ndijonge lana iqhubekeka ya yona ibonakala ingathi into ekunzinyana ngeli xesha ibaliswa phaa sibukele phaa but ndicinga ukuba yona ingasinceda xa kukho umuntu osithetha naye ayithathe kakuhle. Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I always ask myself if I could do it simpler or if I could do it easier. And I often realize that it's not the way other people are doing it is already the simplest, because there are so many things going on in so many different business categories and services and products and infrastructure, and they all work a little bit different and different people invest in them. So, and there's different risk attached, so it can be very tricky to simplify that to just one fee or one cost.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, after the break, we are actually going to discuss, we're actually going to introduce you guys very well, and then after that, we will discuss a bit further about this clip. So guys, we'll see you after the break. And we're back, guys. You're back on the awesome show, Man Make Machine. You can catch us at manmakemachine.com if you have any questions. My guests right here are actually going to introduce themselves a bit, and then, we're going to continue talking about that clip. So, guys, tell me more about yourself, Matthew.
I'm a systems engineer at Man Make Machine. Also finishing off my studies in the next week or two.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, thank you.
It's been a long road, I imagine, Tadu Chris?
Ndinguvuyani Mathetha. Ndihlala eMfuleni eNew Beginnings. And ngindono grade 12 ndisebenza kwa-VP as i-landscaper or i-general worker, because uyafumanisa ukuthi ke ezinye izinto zifuna ukuthi ube nobuchule bawusebenza into zininji ke izikilanyana endinazo nakwi-painting, ndiyalonga, tiling, whatever.
Conrad, tell us more about yourself.
Conrad Leipzer. Man Make Machine is an engineering consultancy, and we help people use technology to solve problems, such as how to fund infrastructure.
Yeah. So, Tata, tell me, kule clip lebesibukele ne? When because at some point unayo must le device ye unify le internet phakwenhle.
Ewe.
Kuzaba quick xesha apho uzofuna ukuthenga vouchers, right?
Ewe.
Now, because you want to sell vouchers, uzayikolekta njani la mali? There's something called the micropayments. I'm sure you guys, Conrad and Matthew, you understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about micropayments and how difficult it is to collect micropayments because you've got a fee problem there. When you're collecting online or via some kind of method of collection via the banks. But then what uzayikolekta njani le mali? Uzakwenza njani xa ucinga ngokwakho?
Xa ndithengisela abantu. Ithanda banzinyana ke lo ndawo kuba uyofumanisa ukuthi kwezi ndawo sihlala kuzo akululanga ukuthi ungaphatha imali ngesandla and kuyingozi ukaphindi. Therefore into endicingayo mna enokuthi ingasinceda ikukuba kubekho some into njengecard eli umntana othi alisebenzise like anikwe lo card then aliloade okanye aze ne-sepeti slip kunye nalo then ke ndibona ukuthi uyinantsiki uyibhatele nyani kuba ibe ndizakwenza kanjalo mna ukulungisela ukuthi imali ikhuseleke nomuntu
uthini imali ke ngoku uzayisaphi okanye uyayithatha
imali ndicinga ukuba mna nendawo enothi zikhuseleke kuyo ndifumanise ukuthi ngayise head office phakum ukwenzela ukuthi izoba nendawo protected then from there ke ngoku kusifika abo bantu bazayicollecta beyisa kule ndawo ifanelekileyo ikhuselekileyo
and nxa ininzi ke ngopha head office
xa ininzi andinawukwazi bangarobha zininzi into ezenzekayo
So yeah, guys, you see, we're talking exactly about this thing of collecting micropayments from, let's say, Utatu Chris and from the other sites within Kailicha that are collecting money, and now they're taking it to one point, which is maybe VPU's head office at Harare Square or Harare Square office. And now you sit with the situation where you've got all this money sitting in one place at that office, and now somebody knows and then they get robbed.
Yeah.
So how do you prevent that? Isn't there a method, like a micropayments method that is, that is able to do that? Because I know Sidwell tried to create something for Bequest, but I don't know if it works according to you guys. What do you guys think?
Well,
Conrad?
the fundamental problem with like payment
Collections.
collections
Yeah.
is how do you fund infrastructure? How do you fund something that people need but that's too expensive for any small group or one person in that community to fund? So how do you fund something that you might only be able to fund over a 10 or 20 year period? And so generally banks would partner with somebody who builds the infrastructure and who makes sure that the revenue is collected again, so that the people that deposited their money with the bank can earn interest on that money or can get a return. So how do we bring this back to micropayments?
Yeah.
So if there's a fee attached, so the whole collection system requires some infrastructure to function. So again, the question is, how do you fund that infrastructure? How do you pay for all the ATMs? How do you pay for all the cash and transit vans and all of that? And essentially, the fees are supposed to pay for that.
Yeah.
So, but what if you want to collect an amount that is smaller than the fee? Why would you pay more fees than the actual money that you contributed?
That is the problem, yeah. Is that possible? Depends.
Well, it really depends. So yes, it is possible. But if it's possible, why isn't it done yet?
Yep.
And I think the simple answer to that is because the infrastructure that was built still needs to be paid off in some way. Or there might be retirement funds that if we do away with the previous way of doing things, there will be people sitting without their retirements.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Matthew, what do you think?
I mean, like more from the end user's perspective is, especially when it comes to money, generally what you want is you just want something that works and you're going to make sure your money is safe end to end. Both parties are going to get their money and be happy. So there is some hesitation in adopting financial technologies in that respect. If you start paying your electricity bill and something happens somewhere down the line, the technology wasn't fully verified, and you suddenly realize your money's gone and your electricity is off,
that's a problem.
you're not going to want to use that system ever again. So people, in terms of putting things out into the field, have to be incredibly cautious about doing that in the first place as well.
But then how do you test that? Like, do you run a pilot run or what do you do?
I think,
Because
I mean,
obviously somebody has to lose money
because I mean,
in some
even
way
a
or
pilot run is like still using actual people's money. So even that is hard. But you would. Yeah, I don't have all the answers. That's something we need to figure out as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, so, yeah, generally you would either do a pilot or work out some way to simulate what's happening with a minimum risk and then slowly expand from there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then Matera, do you have any opinions?
Andiqondi uba ingakhona ngoku kodwa ndifumanisa ukuthi iseyingxaki into kolekthwa kwemali kakhulu and ziyaqhubekeka nezigigaba out of umuntu xa ezenzela seyibhizinesi nje encinci kubeka phi ke ngokule baza bebona ukuthi mhlambi imali iyakhawuleza mhlambi because i-internet ngiyona ndithanda kakhulu isetyenziswa kakhulu.
Okay.
Yes.
So so guys, I actually want to discuss other platforms after the break, especially when it comes to these monitoring systems and revenue collection systems as well. And then you guys can just tell me more about it and what kind of products you've seen out there in the field when it comes to platforms. But that'll be after the break. So guys, I'm going to go to the break quickly, and then we are going to discuss those platforms. So guys, we're back from that awesome break, and we are about to discuss platforms within the revenue collection spectrum, if I should call it that. Guys, so tell me more about platforms that you've ever heard of, that you think are cool. I know there's something like Blue Label out there that collects a whole lot of cash, and other kind of revenue collectors out there. So tell me more. Are there any companies you know, Matthew?
Honestly, I'm not too clued up in what's actively happening in that space outside of the development realm of a few projects.
Yeah.
But,
Conrad?
Well, there are many models, but one of the most interesting ones is, of course, cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, there's still the fundamental interaction is still the same. It doesn't matter what the company is called or what technology they use. It's still about me contributing a little bit of money to a pool of, to a fund or something that is used to create something of value to me.
Yeah.
So you mentioned crime earlier. In a way, a criminal is just somebody who doesn't know the rules or who completely disrespects the rules. Maybe because they think the rules are too complicated. But I think if most people, like if you spend the time to learn the rules and understand the rules, you could actually run a very profitable business and in the long run make a lot more money and create something of value and much more sustainable than just breaking somebody else's business or somebody else's infrastructure.
Yeah. So yeah, just to get on this whole cryptocurrency thing, so cryptocurrencies, guys, are like online money, right? Isn't that like a cheaper way of collecting, you know, like micropayments, or an easy way of collecting micropayments? Why hasn't that worked as yet?
I think the problem with that is it's too easy, and the only people who are investing time, or the people who are investing the most time in it, are people who have not invested time in doing it the old way. The people who are doing it the old way are successful in their old way, and they're busy with their old way, so they're not going to look for a new way because they think their way is the best. But then the people who have created this new way, some of them see an easy way to make money or to fool people, because it's so easy to get money from people over the internet with cryptocurrencies, and they see a way that they can steal a lot of money, and they just lie to people and steal their money, which is also a big problem.
Within the crypto space.
Yes.
So, okay.
So it's a really great technology, but bad people are using it at the moment,
actually,
and it's going to be a while before the good people start realizing that this is actually very
So it's a
valuable
whole
technology.
trust thing that Matthew was talking about. Well, a lot of people are getting robbed and losing their money, and then they blame the whole crypto space or the blockchain and think that the blockchain is corrupt when it's actually not. Am I right? Okay, so smart contracts, is that like a part of cryptocurrency, right? But what's the difference with smart contracts?
A smart contract is just a way to program a device to deal with money.
Okay.
So the problem with the old way of doing money is that it's like a number in a spreadsheet. And anybody who has access to the computer or to the spreadsheet can go and change the number.
Okay.
So a smart contract just cryptographically signs that number, so that if somebody tries to change it, it doesn't allow it because the signature isn't there. But somebody still needs to keep the keys safe.
Okay. So do you think that's the future of revenue collections? What do you think? What's the future of revenue collections? Let me put it that way. Then we'll all have a short discussion about that.
Well,
What do you think?
it depends.
It depends.
There are some really interesting projects using this already, but I think the future will be more of the same with a little bit of new technology, and most people don't care about what the underlying technology is. They just want to know that they're paying for something and that their money is safe and that their money will be received by the person that it's intended for.
So what do you think the future of payments is? When ucinga njani wena uyibona njani imali sizayikollecta ngoluphi hlobo sawuhlala sikollecta ngohlobo esikollecta ngalo okanye ucingela uba ikhona into ezaphinde yenzeka apha exesheni ezawutshintsha yonke le nto esiyenzayo sikollecte ngolunye uhlobo imali?
Ndicinga ukuba mna ikhona indlela enothi ivele but kule ndlela yothi ivele icinga iphinde ibonakala into yoba ngaba iyakuxhomekeka ukuthi le indlela senisebenza ngayo inisebenzela kanjani na, nikhuseleke kangakanani. Okokuqala funeka kukhuseleke wena mntu uzokollecta imali plus nalo mntu uzothatha kweyimali. So xa kunjalo ndicinga ukuthi mna uba ninothi niphinde nihlale phantsi ukulungiselela ke ngoku in future uba ngaba ngoku izinto ziyakhawuleza ukwenzeka nabantwana bakho bayakhawuleza uzibona izinto. So ke ilula ke crime ebantwaneni ukuyifunda msinya nokuthi babone ukuthi into enemali mos iyatsala kakhulu. So ndicinga ukuthi ke uba kunothi kuhlalwe phantsi ke again kuphinde kujonge enye ngoku kusasebenza le kungalinda de kubekho i-effect kule ikhoyo ukulungiselela i-future number one.
Okay. Matthew, what do you think the future of payments?
The future of payments. I think it's not always easy to predict how technology adoption happens, and it's quite varied, and the game can change very rapidly.
Yeah.
In terms of cryptocurrencies and blockchains, I think there's a lot of interesting projects going on in that area, but I also don't see a reason why distributed technologies such as like a blockchain ledger can't be incorporated in the current payment systems without necessarily being part of the whole cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's really exciting to me is that understanding how money works is it's much easier to understand how money works today than it has been at any time in the past.
Any time.
One of the best things that I think came out of cryptocurrency is it started out as toy money. Literally, it's toy money that you can get and you can distribute it, and there's all these ways of distributing it. And all of a sudden, people started using this toy money instead of real money, and it became valuable.
Yeah.
And a lot more people, and especially technical people today, understand how money is issued and how it circulates than in any time in the past. And I think that's bound to lead to some financial innovation.
Some financial innovations. Okay, so basically you guys are agreeing that the future still holds and the fourth industrial revolution will have a better way of collecting payments, I assume.
I think it will be more seamless.
Yeah.
Money will become more invisible.
Okay.
You might subscribe to a service and not have to worry. Like you might get to a situation where you don't have to check your bank account every day or every month to see if somebody stole money from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there will be more trust in the system.
Okay.
And if somebody steals money from you, there will be more automated systems to pick that up and reimburse you in some way.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we get a hold of you, Matthew, if we want to?
I'm not on social media, but the Man Make Machine website has a contact email address.
Oh, okay, for you
I can
specifically
check.
as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tatu Chris, sikufumana phi?
Ngifumana nje ku WhatsApp ungu Vuyani Chris
Okay.
560.vc76@gmail.com.
@gmail.com.
Yes.
Sikufumana kulo email.
Yes, afumana
Okay.
kuyo.
Kwa VP sikufumana phi?
Kwa VP unganifumana kwi phone number engu 061 88 1
Okay.
4466.
Okay.
Yeah.
Conrad?
You can find me on Twitter, DAGELF.
Is that all?
Yep.
Simple. So guys, that was an awesome show about revenue collections. Our next show will be about an awesome guy from City of Cape Town coming through and a few ladies to come and talk to us about revenue collections and other things. And yeah, that will be it. Thank you guys. Next time.